We need to learn. We need to, not ourselves, we need to learn, but our partners need to learn, our authorities need to learn, the passengers need to learn, and we need to have trust in the whole hydrogen topic. And then the idea is to connect Rotterdam and Hamburg 26 with the Zero Avia plane. So this is the cherry on the cake, to have a real demonstration flight of a hydrogen plane between Rotterdam and Hamburg and back. The whole process, fueling, operation, ground service, everything, and really showcase that hydrogen aviation is here, and it's not some sketch or some scheme. It's really happening.
Hamburg Aviation. Green.
Welcome to a new episode of Hamburg Aviation Green, where we're looking at some of the many initiatives around sustainable aviation in Hamburg and talking to some of the thousands of people working on this crucial topic for aviation. And my name is Angus Bagent.
And I'm Carolina Oxley. Today we're looking to airports, not any airport, we're looking at Hamburg Airport. With us today is Julian Klaaßen.
Hi.
Welcome, Julian.
Thank you.
Julian is an environmental engineer at Hamburg Airport, and I would like to start by getting an overview from you. You have this very ambitious project called Hamburg Airport's Net Zero 2035. Can you give us an overview of what this involves?
Sure, and thanks for having me. Net Zero 2035 is our program to reach fossil-free operations. And it started way earlier. We started in 2009 with emission balancing and reduction of energy use and efficiency. And throughout this journey, we implemented several projects, several actions to reduce our emissions, to substitute. And in 21, we reached our CO2 neutrality, where we already reduced our emissions by around about 80%. And these rest emissions, which had been something like 12 to 11,000 tons, we compensated, or still compensating, but the goal is to reduce these compensations to zero. And the rest emissions are always the hardest to reduce, and therefore we initiated directly after reaching the so-called Airport Carbon Accreditation Level 3+, which is the neutrality. Directly this year we launched our Net Zero initiative to say, okay, we want to reach fossil-free operations within the next 10 years, so 35, or there back then it was 13 years, 14 years. And and here we are.
Sorry, can I just ask, what is the rest exactly that's so hard to get rid of?
So the rest is basically just heating. So the rest, 90% of our emissions is based on heating, as we have a CHP, combined power and heat plant, which runs on gas and provides us with our heat. We produce 100% of our own heat, and a little bit of power. The rest we just buy from green sources. But back then, this CHP was the technology to reduce emissions compared to our oil heating system. And as we reduced all the other stuff, the best technology is now the highest emittent. And this is now our goal to get this to zero at some points. And the rest 10% is cars. So our carpool, all our special equipments, everything which runs on diesel, petrol, gas, electricity, hydrogen. So there we have to do some actions as well. But this is the smaller part.
So one part of net zero is the wind park. Tell us a little bit about the wind park you guys are building.
Yeah, the wind park is quite quite new, so to say, or pioneering thing for airports, because we are one of the only airports in Germany having land besides our own land where the airport is, because the airport should have been rebuilt in Schleswig-Holstein. This never happened, but we still have this area where we have agriculture, where we have forests, and where a dedicated wind energy area is from the ministries. And the idea now is to place our own windmills. As to the fact that the last years we had quite a problem with energy security or energy delivery, as we know from the past years with gas and electricity, the prices ramped up, and we have now quite high fluctuation of prices. And to get quite energy autonomous, we say, okay, we have this opportunity, this asset to say we build our own wind park, produce our own energy, and as we do have the land, we are going to build our own wind park, which brings us 100% green electricity, which is filling in or going into this goal 100%, and brings us some stability in our prices as well.
I think the overall budget you've set aside for net zero is something like 250 million euros, and I think how much is the wind park? What's the budget for the earmark development?
The budget for the wind park is something around 70 million to build 5 to 6 plants around the size of 6 megawatts. So we reach out to have 36 megawatts of installed capacity.
And how much? What's the current energy requirements of the airport as it stands at the moment today?
Today, our energy demand in electricity is something like 50 gigawatt hours, which means something like 10,000 households, plus something like 40 gigawatt hours of gas for heating. For our heating systems, and then comes, of course, petrol and gas for cars and diesel.
Fascinating. The question that I have with all these initiatives that you have currently set up, how do you make sure that operational efficiency isn't endangered? Is the wrong word, but isn't affected? Or the passengers' experience at the airport?
Due to planning, good thoughtful planning. This is one good thing to have a own environmental department, which runs. We have our environmental department since 30 years now. So our experts know quite good the operations, the needs of the passengers, the needs of the operations, and therefore we don't act with unthought actions or just hectic. We are with ease, we are thoughtful, and we really plan it. And several issues or actions we implemented, they even bettered the efficiency. They made it easier to operate. For example, our gas engines, which run on CNG, the tow targets for the baggages, back then 2011. Huge rollout of CNG for cars became the business case because it was the best technology we could implement. So we are very happy to have done this 10, 12 years ago. Same with the diesel. We run since 2017 only HVO, so synthetic diesel. It's a little bit more expensive, of course, but it has a CO2 reduction of something like 98%. So our diesel engines all run almost fossil free. But on the other hand, it has better burning attributes, abilities. The engines are not so affected. Everything runs more smooth. So it doesn't mean that environmental actions or measures affect the operations efficiency negatively. Sometimes, or most of the times, we try to implement them to better it, and this is the goal.
Fascinating.
So hydrogen, right?
My favorite.
Your favorite. I know this is your favorite topic. Because I remember we were at a conference once, and you were showing a little bit about what what you guys have got planned, and you actually had a map of the airport with you, and you put it up, and that brought home to me how concrete your planning already is. I think there's a lot of airports who are already thinking about it, how can we do this? And you guys are already pretty far down the road in terms of what your planning is. So could you just, what stage are you at the moment in hydrogen? Why is it a technology that you're looking at very seriously, and you're already quite far along in your planning?
For that, I have to go a little bit back in the history again, as we always are quite early with our doings and our actions. We started in 2013 already the first tests on hydrogen. First a just normal passenger car, Fiat Doblo, and a tow tugger for baggages. And back then we already planned to implement hydrogen, or at least test it. It was a funded project as well. And there we already had our eyes on hydrogen. Unfortunately, the technology back then wasn't so good. The fuel cell was good. It was really, really working, and it today still works. It's today still in research operations. Not at our place, but we gave it back to someone else. But the batteries there were quite high affected by the shakes of running around, because we had some bumps and stuff like this. So the technology was not ready. Therefore, we already have hydrogen in mind, in planning, in idea. And today it gets more and more concrete, because we have the switch between, do we go battery electric, or do we go hydrogen electric or hydrogen burning? And both has its pros and cons. And this is what we are now today trying really to estimate. The goal is to make a decision next year to find out, is it battery electric or not? Because thing with battery electric is that the grid our grid needs to be highly increased or made better for the power needed. The operations need to be aligned with it. We probably need more cars, which needs more space, which we don't have. And on the other hand, the people know gaseous fuels with our CNG, which we use today. And so the refueling processes with hydrogen are always the same. So it's just going there, putting in the pistol and fueling, and it takes 5 to 10 minutes, which they are used today to it. And so therefore we have operational changes, or the same operations but different costs, and this is an estimation we need to do today. So it's first we check if the engine we are intending to use is really 100% usable for our operations, and if it's doable, then we do the economic measures or estimations, and then we see where's the business case. So it's very concrete, as you say, and we as we have hydrogen in our minds for 10 years now, it's not theoretical anymore. We are going into the doing. So
you're already you're looking at ground support equipment. That's what you're
mainly
currently looking at the moment, and that's gaseous hydrogen. I don't know, is it 300 bar or?
Yeah, it's 350 bar gaseous.
350 bar.
This was as well a question we ask ourselves: is it 700 bars as we are used to it in passenger cars and our refueling stations around, or do we use 350 bars? And we said, okay, it makes more sense to go 350 because all the investment or the infrastructure you need for 700 is way more expensive. Of course, you get more range, but we normally don't have the huge issue of space in our cars or in the special equipment, because we always have huge equipments, and space is not always the biggest issue. Therefore, we say, okay, let's use the more easy and cost-efficient technology than the high range efficient technology.
You are with Hamburg Airport involved in a project that's funded by the European Union, focusing on the Baltic Sea Region, high airport. Can you tell us a bit about what that's about?
Yeah, the Baltic Sea Region High Airport project is, it's great. We started this idea as well years ago. We had the first idea was 2019, where we said, okay, we want to have a route between Hamburg and somewhere else. The idea was Sylt to get this connection with gaseous hydrogen.
Just that Sylt is an island in the North Sea coast.
Yeah.
Just in case people don't know where Sylt is. Not
Yeah.
very far, but there used to be, or are there currently connections between Hamburg and Sylt? Okay.
It's a very small aircraft.
Yeah.
It's general aviation.
Mm-hmm.
But back then it was clear that first the small sector, the general aviation, will get on hydrogen, and we said, okay, let's go there, and it would be cool if we have a connection between Sylt and Hamburg on hydrogen. And then some years after that, ZeroAvia came up with their design and their aircraft on gaseous hydrogen, exactly the same plane which goes to Sylt today. And we said, okay, this is a great spot to start now. And then we made the idea. We found HPC who are helping us with the whole project and the implementation. And then we found out that there is huge interest around us for this project, and it grew. And then we found the Baltic Sea Region funding project. And somehow the partner just came in, and the cooperation just grew, the consortium just grew, and we found out that there's high interest for hydrogen at airports. And then the idea grew bigger and bigger, and we said, okay, let's do something like a blueprint. We need to have airports ready for hydrogen. So the full name is Preparing Airports for Hydrogen. And because it doesn't matter if we are alone having hydrogen implemented and the full infrastructure. We can do some circles around Hamburg, but that doesn't make any sense for the passengers, so to say. It's nice, but we want to have some connections. And therefore, in the future, we need airports being ready for hydrogen. And some airports are further with it. Some airports haven't ever thought about hydrogen. And therefore, we said, okay, let's find a way to align airports with the idea of hydrogen. And we are looking here in legal framework. We're looking at demand assessment, at transport, at local production, at storage, at handling. We're asking ourselves, how do we handle an hydrogen electric aircraft? Is it different? Is it the same? Where are the issues? How to tackle that? Safety issues, and as well as ground support equipment, because we see there are some similarities or even synergies, because it's as well on 350 bars. So we have the same infrastructure needs, which can ramp everything up and makes it more efficient, economic-wise.
So you're using the same technology to refuel the ZeroAvia aircraft, if that's what it is, with 350 bar, then you would be the ground support equipment.
More or less. So
okay.
the infrastructure would be the same. The fueling protocols are a little bit different. Okay. There are several protocols for light duty vehicles, high duty vehicles, passenger cars, but they're just a little bit different. But the infrastructure itself is the same. And then we brought together the partners and made the whole project alive. And we are very active in it. We are really having several working packages on all this stuff I just told you. And the whole motivation is to find a way boosting hydrogen, getting as well regional airports to more connectivity, because this is as well a role or a goal for Interact to say regions which are not that good connected to get them better connected to hubs, to get better connection. And green aviation is the best way to perfectly connect people in a environmental friendly way. And therefore, as well, this project is implemented, and it helps to increase the value of the region, to get more economics around there. Added value is the fact here, and to get airports to being hubs I mean, we are getting there to being energy hubs. We need electricity for our passengers. We need electricity for ourselves. We need hydrogen. We need synthetic fuel. So airports are hubs for energy, and we are growing to that. And this is the goal to get more connection, added value, and climate-friendly aviation.
So just extending the work that you're doing in the Baltic Sea region, you also have a cooperation with Rotterdam Airport. I know that you've been working together on various projects also around this. Tell us a little bit about the cooperation that we announced 2023 at the Paris Air Show.
Was it last year or 2022?
Last year was it 20? No, it must have been 23 because this year was ELA, so it was. It must have been 23.
Yeah. Not sure anymore with all the dates. Rotterdam is quite a nice and great partner to have because we met them when we went to Netherlands with you guys, and they presented their projects. We presented our project, which was quite new back then, and we found out we have the same partners. They are partnering with ZeroAvia, have the same idea as we do, and we said, guys, it doesn't make sense to not cooperate. And then we found even more similarities. We have both the huge ports in not airports, ports, seaports of Europe. We have our ports are energy important ports. We are going to be connected with a pipeline on gaseous hydrogen, Hamburg and Rotterdam, on the European backbone. Both airports are quite close to the ports themselves. We have the same mindset, and as well, both airports are quite active on climate neutral and sustainability measures. So we said, guys, it doesn't make sense not to cooperate. And so we formed the MOU together with Hamburg Aviation and RIA, Research Institute of Rotterdam Den Haag Airport. And since then we are quite actively cooperating. And this is as well another added value for the projects in Europe, because Rotterdam is part of the Tulips program. We are part of the Baltic Sea Airport program, both European funded. And the knowledge exchange there is great, and we already have so much results and so much stuff we already got through this cooperation. And then the idea is to connect Rotterdam and Hamburg 26 with the ZeroAvia plane. So this is the cherry on the cake, to have a real demonstration flight of a hydrogen plane between Rotterdam and Hamburg and back. The whole process, fueling, operation, ground service, everything, and really showcase that hydrogen aviation is here, and it's not some sketch or some scheme. It's really happening, and this is our cherry on the cake and what we are all working towards. And as well, with Rotterdam, we are dealing with liquid hydrogen as well. We are dealing with net zero. We are cooperating with several ideas. We are exchanging our issues. So they have issues, we have issues, and sometimes it's different, sometimes the same. Just this informational change is so value, and it's always great to have people having the same idea and the same mindset as yourself, and willing to exchange knowledge, because there's sometimes, of course, somewhere people just saying, no, I don't want to share my information. But even more in these years, these times, we really need to cooperate. Without cooperation, we can't do it anymore.
Absolutely.
And Rotterdam is a great partner. I'm really happy to be part of this cooperation. Yeah.
And is that a partner that you can share openly best practices with?
Yes.
Is that really?
Yeah. We do, and even some knowledge which is not widely spread, because through the MOU we are quite bonded together, and it's really good to have some informational exchange on a very I'm missing the words right now. On a trusted level. Mm-hmm. Thanks. Yeah, that's it. On a trusted level, and on the same level.
Just let's do the segue between, we've been talking about gaseous hydrogen, so 350 bar for the ground support equipment, for the Zero aircraft. So let's talk about liquid hydrogen. You guys are also part of the Airbus Hydrogen Hub network and the Zero E aircraft that's being designed there. Of course, it's around cryogenic hydrogen. So in terms of your planning, that's a whole other ball game in terms of what the engineering, the infrastructure. That's all one of the reasons why you're also involved in the Hydrogen Aviation Lab, which is another project. So tell us about liquid hydrogen and how you guys are approaching this. Obviously, this is another level of difficulty. But
Yes.
you're learning from the work you're doing with gaseous hydrogen. Is some of that applicable to liquid hydrogen?
Yeah, more or less. So you pointed it out. This gaseous hydrogen project, Hamburg Airport, is of course it is a very small part of operations, of course. But as we have today the technology existing and flying, we can, with the gaseous hydrogen, we can pave the way for liquid hydrogen, and this is the goal because we need to learn. We need to. Not ourselves, we need to learn, but our partners need to learn, our authorities need to learn, the passengers need to learn, and we need to have trust in the whole hydrogen topic. And but yeah, the big bucket is liquid hydrogen, of course, and there we are working with Airbus, as you said. Hydrogen hubs at airports is the project, and we are the only German airport working with Airbus on that, and. Yeah, it's all about. It's about we tackle the topic of demand assessment. So, what is the estimated fleet integrity of liquid hydrogen planes? So, how many airplanes are we estimate or movements we estimate in the following years, starting with the entry into service of 35? What does this mean in consumption of peak consumption? What does this mean for infrastructure? Where do we store it? How do we store it? When do we store it? Where do we get it from? And all these questions are so far out of, besides infrastructure and movements, but everything else, so like demand assessment and more or less the transport and the sourcing, it's so far out of our boundaries we usually are used to be in. In the airport, we're always in our fence and we're just like, we have airports. But now in all these topics, we are so far out of our comfort zone normally because we have to look all around the whole topic. And and it's quite interesting to see getting there, and it's really it's not a sketch anymore as well. It's going to happen.
Yeah, and I remember when you had the map and you were talking about what the you were already looking at. Okay, this is probably, if we have some hydrogen tanks, we're going to probably put them here and here. Mm-hmm. So you're already quite far down the road. You also did some in terms of your the assessments, how much you're going to need. I think you came up with a figure. Okay, with this number of aircraft movements, we're going to need. If we use trailers, then we're going to have to. Mm-hmm. We need so many trailers to bring it in. They're going to be 10 miles down the road or something. I mean, yeah. You're already looking at the various options. So, what's the next stage in your planning currently?
So. We are now reaching the end of our project with the phase one with Airbus, the whole assessment part. We did before that an assessment as well with the DLR, where we made some figures on a different way of calculation, which are more or less similar. Can see this on our website as well. The roadmap we build. The next steps now is we are going to have the results. We are planning now the communications on how are we going to present that, and now we are thinking within the partnership, how are we going to proceed? What is the next steps? So we have some next steps. I'm not so. Yeah, I can't tell right now 100%.
Okay. We'll find out in due course.
Yeah,
but
there are several questions that need to be found out more or less business-wise, for example, who will fuel? Who will own the fuel? Is it the same like today with kerosene? The supply chain is set. It's common knowledge. But with liquid hydrogen, everything is new. We have a complete green field. And who's doing what, when? Then we have one more issue like boil-off gas. How are we going to use that? Who's owning this boil-off gas? Where is it going? Am I reliquefying it, or am I selling it to the pipelines, or is the airport using it? Are we allowed to use it because are we even owning it? Do we have to buy it? But because we are maybe when we use our GSE or ground support equipment, we need gaseous hydrogen. And if we have boil-off gas, we have gaseous hydrogen. So there are a lot of synergies that could be played, but there is the question of ownership. And these questions we want to find out, and several other stuff. And so the technical versions or the technical plannings are more or less done, the estimations, the prognosis, and now we're getting to how can we implement it, and who's implementing it, and what do we need for it, what's the costs, and all that.
Are you anticipating at some point perhaps building a hydrogen pipeline to the airport? Is that something you guys are actively considering?
It is considered as well since years together with the grid provider Gasnetz Hamburg. The question here as well is, are we able to liquefy the hydrogen on spot?
Mm-hmm.
This is something we estimated with the DLR together, and if we would liquefy the gas from the pipeline, for example, in 2050, all the liquid hydrogen we need to liquefy it, we would need 450 gigawatt hours of electricity. It's 10 times more of what we use today.
Right.
And I don't think that the capacity of the grid is even capable of doing so. So it's the question, are we doing it on site, or more or less, I think it will come down to the point that there are some not decentralized but centralized liquefaction facilities, because I need the scale and I need the cable for it.
So still a lot of open questions concerning hydrogen. If we look to SAF, Sustainable Aviation Fuels, what about that? Do you have corporations going to deploy SAF more at Hamburg Airport? Are there as many questions to be answered?
So SAF is a bit more evolved. As in the last years, there have a lot been done, and now we have the quota. The airlines need to have 2% of SAF next year within their movements.
In the European Union.
In the European Union, yes. But here, it's as well the point that the airport is normally not the one buying the kerosene. We are just the space or the infrastructure provider, but we are not part of the supply chain. So until a certain point, we are able to push or to pull within projects or start project. But in the end, you need the provider and you need the buyer, so to say. We launched several projects, and we are speaking with a lot of people, but the problem right now is the costs for production. And we have a huge producer in Finland who's bringing all the SAF to Rotterdam. And to be honest, it doesn't make sense to bring the SAF from Rotterdam to Hamburg by truck. This just brings more rebound effects because we have the truck and all the diesel we use for that. Better is to use bring the SAF to Frankfurt, for example, or the airports who are connected by pipeline to Rotterdam. So I don't have any rebound effects due to the transport. But we as airport, we try to be something like a facilitator or a catalyst for projects, bringing partners together, which is as well way out of our comfort zone as normally, because normally we just have the kerosene there because it's common knowledge. It's just done since decades. Now it's a complete new situation, and trying to bring in people and connecting them, trying to ramp up or bring this supply chain to life. But the scaling effects are the problem, and the money, of course, the investments for refineries and all the people who are within the supply chain.
I think it's so important, building those relationships, building those networks, and pooling resources across different industries. And like you were saying, outside the comfort zone. I mean, as a network in aviation, we having also to build new connections to the energy industry. So we talk to sister clusters who actually focused on energy and trying to bring everybody together. Because obviously, like you were saying, industry on its own, or an airport on its own, or even a national government on its own can't reach these solutions. It's only by these kind of cooperations.
I want to say we are not unhappy to be out of our comfort zone. It sounds like we're not happy being out of our comfort zone. That's not what I meant. It's just normally we just are within our boundaries, and it was the years, the decades, the last years, and now we have to go out and speak with different partners we never spoke with, and it's great. I mean, I love this job, and it's great to be part of this whole transition, energy transition, even in not only electricity transition, but the whole aviation is transiting to new fuels, and we play a crucial role in it. And it's great to go out of our boundaries. But as I said, it's normally we're used to be within our boundaries.
Because that would just be business as usual.
Yes.
And because this isn't business, this transformation is not business as usual. It's the opposite. So that's the direction that we're all trying to meet that challenge by expanding those boundaries.
Yeah, and it's important or it's for us it's good to have the market, the view in the market, and speaking to the pioneers, being a pioneer, because through that we are always a little bit ahead of the regulations and what people want from us or authorities want to us. Normally, and this is the same with our environmental work, normally we are always ahead, and this is a very comfortable situation. When someone comes to you and say you have to do this, and you say, I already have it. And this is always comfortable. It's always good to be not in the reacting phase, but in the acting phase, because then I can form. And it's normally just human mind, just thinking clearly about stuff which makes sense or not. And it's the same with sustainability.
Awesome. Thank you very much for coming, talking to us today and sharing some of the great work that you guys are doing at Hamburg Airport to decarbonize.
Thank you for having me
so much.
And for the invitation.
Thanks very much for sharing your time with us today, and we'll be back to share more insights with you from other actors, companies, institutions from Hamburg working on decarbonization. If you like what you see or you hear, then follow us, like us, give us a review on your platform of choice. And if you've got any feedback for us, then get in touch with us at Hamburg Aviation. Thanks very much for your time.
Thank you very much, Julian.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for listening or viewing. Bye.